there, this is Shraddha. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I have had the honor to talk to the USA Today Bestselling Author, gkderosa. I had an amazing time talking to her, and I hope you enjoy our conversation as much as I did. Okay, I won't keep you any longer because I know all the Wilder fans are going to have my head if I keep you any longer. So please continue watching. Please welcome the USA Today bestselling author Genevieve DeRosa. Thanks a lot, Genevieve, for doing this with me. It's truly an honor, and I'm so happy and grateful that I can't express my gratitude and happiness in words. Thanks a lot.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much for having me. I'm so thrilled to be here.
It's my honor. Okay, now I have a bunch of questions for you. Would you please answer them?
Yes.
Okay, let's start. Uh-huh. So, what inspired you to start writing?
That is a good question. Actually, it was the Vampire Diaries. You know, we talked about my love and your love for Ian Somerhalder. And it really was, I was doing a lot of reading. I was living in New York City and doing a lot of commuting on the train. And I started reading a lot. And then I started watching the Vampire Diaries, which I had never watched before. So I binged the entire season, and then I realized it was based on books. So then I started reading the books, and I don't know, it just really inspired me to write. My first series was Wilder, it was called, and it was largely, inspired by Damon and Elena's love story.
Yes, Damon is, the best. Now, this is the doubt I have been having that when you were watching the series, were you like Team Damon from the beginning, or were you like, I like Stefan, but then, the Damon mystery unfolds, and now I like Damon?
I think I like Damon right from the beginning.
My friends are like, Damon is the villain. I can't, just argue with them all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it was cute. Stefan was cute at first, and but as soon as I think the first scene with Damon and Elena, I was like, that is meant to be.
All right, the next question. When did you first realize you wanted to be a writer?
Around that time, I really just started writing one day. It was very, sorry, I'm trying to get a better light. It was very unplanned. Like I said, it just kind of happened. I was a business major. I was working in banking. And when I was younger, I loved to write and read a lot. And then as I got older, I just stopped doing it. And like I said, reading, I was in love with the Hunger Games. That was one of my favorite book series too. And it just brought me back to the young adult, books that I hadn't read in so many years. And yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this. I'm going to do it. And that was it.
Everyone loves young adult.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So where do you get your information or ideas for your books?
Just in my head. I don't know. No, I mean, the ideas, yeah, they just kind of come to me. I've always loved TV series like The Vampire Diaries, like Charmed. I used to watch Charmed and Buffy the Vampire Slayer when I was younger, probably like your age. And they just always stuck. And like I said, for a long time, I hadn't been reading. And then, I started reading again, and it was kind of, I think, a mixture between the books and the TV shows. And I don't know, all these ideas, they just come. And then obviously you do a little bit of research once you come up with something. But that's what I love about fantasy, is that you can really make up so much.
Yes, they're just amazing. All right. So what is your working schedule like when you're writing?
So I have two little children, and so I don't get a lot of time to write. Even though I'm a full-time writer, I probably write 2 or 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, and that's it. But I'm pretty good about setting my times, and I make sure that I do it. And it's easy to get distracted, and with social media and everything else. But yeah, basically, I sit down, I go to my office, or actually, I really like to write outside. So my balcony is like my office. And I live in Florida, so it's like pretty warm most of the year. Actually, right now it's like getting too hot, but typically, yes. So I sit outside, I have my coffee, iced coffee usually, and I do like 2 to 3 hours, and that's pretty much it. That's my schedule.
In India too, we're having, it's so warm and humid. It gets
Yeah.
difficult to survive. All
Yeah.
right. Do you remember the first story you ever read and the impact it had on you?
That is hard. You know, from childhood, now that I have, my children, I've been like getting these like books, like from children's books, obviously. And one of my favorites, which my son has too, is The Giving Tree, it's called. And it's just like a really sweet story. But with my kids, I read to them all the time, and I was very lucky too. I mean, I was, again, like I said, when I was little, I used to read a lot, and then as you get older, you kind of get away from it. But I love it. I love getting lost in a book, and we're so used to nowadays with like Netflix and like binging, TV shows and stuff. And with books, like, you've been able to do that forever. Like you can binge the whole book, you can binge the whole series, right? And so anyway, I got off track, but yes, The Giving Tree was what it was.
Okay, so what was your favorite book when you were a kid?
Um, I loved the Babysitters Club. It was like when I was probably like in 12, 13 years old, and it was one of my favorite series. And it was just like a bunch of young girls and, having fun together. And I thought it was really cute and sweet at the time. And I think they made a TV show out of it, or a movie, I think, and I watched it recently, and it was still very cute, I thought.
Okay. Okay, so what do you think makes a good story?
For me, I mean, I am all about the romance. Like I really like the relationship between the main character and the love interest. I really like the challenge. Like for me, I really like the will they or won't they get together? Like once they're together, like I kind of lose interest. So I like a story for me that's gonna like kind of drag it out. So the more like tension and conflict, that's what I love most in stories.
Beautiful. All right. So, which of your books were the most enjoyable to write?
That's hard. That's really hard. They're all my favorite when I'm writing them. Um, my first one obviously will always be special because it was my first one, and it took me so much longer. Like I was really involved in the story for like probably a year or 2 years in the first series, the Wilder series, whereas my newer ones now, like I write so fast, like I can get an entire series done in maybe like 4 months. So it's like a big time difference. But it's hard to pick a favorite. I don't think I can. I'll tell you which one was probably the hardest to write. So my least favorite, maybe, but I like how it turned out. But in writing it, Hitched was my one that's like the kind of like the Bachelor, the Bachelorette, like with supernatural characters, and that was hard just because it had such a big cast of characters. So having your main love interest, and there were like 10, 15, 20 guys, so that was hard.
All right. So, do you have a favorite character that you have written? If so, who and what makes them so special?
So Celeste, who's my first ever character, is very special because she was my first. And I think of all my characters, she's the most like me. Because when I was writing her, like as a first time author, it was just easier, for me to kind of model her after myself. And she takes a while to like kind of grow into herself and into her powers. And again, with my love for Buffy the Vampire Slayer too, is she's kind of like a Buffy type character. So she's one of my favorites, but it's hard because I love them all.
Have you watched The Vampire Academy or probably read it by chance?
Of course, that's one of my other favorites.
It's
my
going up
I
soon.
I love that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, my Dark Blood Academy series that I did when I was writing it, I was thinking a lot of, the Vampire Academy because I love Rose and Dimitri.
Yes.
So yeah.
So, okay, now this one is something I really want to know. You have met Ian Somerhalder in person. Would you like to share your experience with us?
Sure, I would love to. He's great, by the way. He is such a sweet, sweet man. I was really, really surprised because I had never, done anything like that before. But anyway, so like I said, my first series, Wilder, was really, really inspired by his character. And I went to this convention in Spain, actually, and I had the book with me, and I went to get his autograph. And I had the book and I said, I just wanted to thank you. This book, I wrote this book inspired by you and blah, blah. And he was so sweet. And he was like, oh my gosh, he's like, will you sign it for me? So my first ever author, like signature as an author was for Ian Somerhalder, which is like so crazy. And he was so sweet. He was like in this area where we were at, we weren't supposed to be taking pictures. And my friend was with me and he was like, come on, take a picture, take a picture. So I have, a picture of me signing the book to Ian, which was like incredible. And he was just very, very sweet, very kind. And he's like that, with everybody. Like you can see like every person that goes up to him to talk to him, like he just makes them feel like, they're so special. And he's a really, really nice guy. So if you ever get the chance to go to one of those TVD conventions, I greatly recommend it.
It's a dream come true for me. All right. So, which are your favorite novels?
What? I'm sorry.
Your favorite novels?
My favorite novels. So definitely, like I said, Hunger Games is one of my favorites. The Vampire Academy too that you mentioned. I read all of those, and then I read the spin-off ones too, the Bloodlines. I read those. I loved Twilight. I know a lot of people, laugh about that one, but I do love Twilight too. But I would say favorite is probably the Hunger Games. It's the one that I've read probably 4 or 5 times at least.
So, are you like Team Edward or Team Jacob?
Definitely Team Edward.
That's good. I am Team Edward too. Okay. Who is the author you admire the most in your genre?
That's so hard. So as an indie author, I tend to read mostly in other indie authors, so other independent authors like myself. And I don't probably read as much of traditional books that I should. J.K. Rowling's obviously, I think what she did for women authors is amazing. But I'll tell you a secret, I have not even read all of her, of the Harry Potter. I'm so bad. I'm probably one of the only YA authors that hasn't read that. But I think, what she did for women authors is incredible. So I give her a lot of credit for that. So, yeah.
I'll J.K. Rowling too. All right. So, if you had to describe yourself in 3 words, what would they be?
Ooh, 3 words. Okay. One is silly. I'm very silly. I'm very young at heart. My husband always, teases me because he says I'm like a child. So I'll say silly instead of, like a child. um, I am creative. Like people always ask me like, how do you come up with this stuff? Like, how do you come up with all these crazy stories? And I don't know. I just have all of them like in my head somewhere. Sometimes I worry. I'm like, I hope I don't run out of ideas. So yeah, okay. So silly creative and this isn't so much, I guess, a word to describe me, but I'm a mom. Like being a mom is a very important, part of my life. Like that is my main job. I love my, kids more than anything, and so yeah, so that's I think a big part of describing me.
And I beg to differ. You're not silly. That's cuteness. That makes you
Well, thank
operative.
you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Finally, any message you would like to give to your readers?
Oh, well, I would like to say thank you so much to all of my readers. It's really incredible. I know how lucky I am because there are so many amazing authors out there that don't get to do what I do, full time and have such a great job. I mean, I love to write. I love what I do, and it's very rare for most people to say that, and I could never do that without my readers. So I am beyond thankful for you guys and for all your support and you know putting up with all my stories and loving them and continuing to read them, and it's just I'm beyond grateful and thankful.
I guess the readers are lucky too. They came across your books, they enjoyed it. They came across such an amazing audio and personality. They're lucky.
No, thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Genevieve, for doing this with me. It's truly my honor, and I had a blast talking to you, reading your books. It was such a beautiful and amazing time. Thanks a
Oh,
lot.
thank you so much for that. Thanks so much. And I hope you have a great day. I'm about to go to sleep and you're about to start your day, huh?
People, have a nice sleep then.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
OMG, I had an amazing time talking to her. I love Damon, I love Delina, I love the TVD, I love the Vampire Academy, I love vampires. So, I was so happy and excited when we were talking about these stuffs, and I was so thrilled when she told me that, okay, she has met Ian Somerhalder, and I'm a huge fan of him, so obviously you can understand how that feels. And I'll be really honest, when somebody talks to you about things that you've read, things that you love, and there's a sort of an affinity there, I was so happy. And I bet most of you who have heard about these stuff must have that stupid smile pasted on your face, and you must have been laughing with us. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. I'd like to thank Genevieve for sparing time for this interview from her busy schedule. It was my honor, and I'm so grateful for that. And I was so thrilled and excited before talking to her, while talking to her, and after talking to her. Thanks a lot, Genevieve. And I'd also like to thank all the lovely viewers who watched this video. Thanks a lot. I'm really happy to have you here. And if you don't know the 3 rules, you know those. Just go, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.